Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Tuesday, May 30th, 2023. It's the day Joe Biden's son died at age 46, some years before he became number 46. But what I want to talk about is, again, how it's so sad that so many Americans are so duped by these pro sports leagues and continue to give their time, energy, and money and essentially allow themselves to be manipulated and mocked. And again, I'm also making these videos for every young child out there. Again, I don't want to kill the dream of any young child who's out dribbling the basketball right now, practicing, shooting, having dreams of making it to the league. But at the same time, every child should know that that's kind of a lie. That's part of the American dream, that you can practice real hard and make it into the National Basketball Association. That's probably true if your father's played in the league or you're born into some Illuminati clubhouse. But if that's not the case, you're not going to make it in the league. And again, we're going to talk about just how rigged this league is, how badly it mocks its fans, just how scripted it is, and how we continue to prove it year after year. Again, having the knowledge yesterday, we knew the Miami should at least cover the spread, had a great chance to upset and get their 35th conference finals win in their 35th season on JFK number 35's birthday in Massachusetts, as they did. But again, the knowledge yesterday told us that Miami should at least cover, and the under would likely hit, and both of those were winners. So again, there's advantages to having this knowledge, but it's more important than just gambling. It is about seeing how rigged it is so you will not continue to wear other men's names on your back, especially when they're the names of men who don't care anything about you. All they care about is that you come in the stadium, pay for the overpriced ticket, the food, the drink, so they continue to live high on the hog off of your ignorance. That's as much as these basketball players care about you. They don't care about winning rings and championships and leaving it all on the court. No, that's not what it's about. They got to play the game. They got to play the script they're given, even if it says fake roll your ankle in the opening minutes so we can have an excuse why we get our asses handed to us in Game 7 and we're the great Boston Celtics. But look at this, you guys. We talked about this yesterday before the game, and this was one of many reasons why Miami had a narrative to upset Boston in Boston as a 7.5-point underdog. And those were the clues yesterday, them being a 7.5-point underdog in Miami. It was Game 7 with Miami trying to get their 7th NBA Finals berth. So there's a clue that it might be a 7-point spread, which is less than 7.5, which means Miami's got one good excuse to cover. And then the date numerology was 5. Another reason why Miami might very well cover that 7.5-point spread. But look at this. How many people are aware of this? Nikola Jokic, the league MVP, the star of the Denver Nuggets, who's been awaiting the winner of the Boston-Miami series, who's been resting up. He's been having a nice few days off while this game's been going to Game 7, or this series has been going to Game 7. But if you look it up, there's a headline from not long ago about Nikola Jokic and Nikola Jovic going out to dinner. The story's from about 3 months ago. And, of course, they're both Serbian, thus the very similar names. But here's the joke of Nikola Jovic of the Miami Heat, who will now face Nikola Jokic in the NBA Finals. Notice he was the 27th pick of the draft. That's a big number in Miami. In Gematria, Miami equals 27. We talk about this number in Miami all the time. We've won on this number in Miami a million times all across all sports. But 27 ended up being so huge in this series. Yesterday, with Miami winning by 19, they ended up outscoring Boston by 27 points in the entire series, the 7-game series. They came in +8. They outscored them by 19 yesterday to put them at +27 for the series. And they kept Boston on 27 Game 7 wins of all time. Now, again, this guy was the 27th pick of the draft last year for Miami. In addition to Miami equaling 27, so does the word ritual. A lot of rituals with the number 27, kind of like Donald Trump being announced as the president-elect who ran on building a wall on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, which was the 27-year anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall when he was announced as president November 9th. But 27 in rituals. It's also the reason for the 27 Club in rock and roll. So check this out. Here's the big joke with, the bigger Serbian star, Nikola Jokic. Their names are different by one letter. Jokic has a K. K's the 11th letter. V's the 22nd letter. Those are the two master numbers, right? 11 and 22. The difference is the K and the V. Nikola Jokic, Nikola Jovic. But check this out. This year, Nikola Jovic of Miami played in 15 games, right? 15 games. What number does Nikola Jokic wear? Oh, that's right. He wears number 15. How about how many games he started? Oh, he started in 8 games. Remind me, what's interesting about Miami? Yesterday, Miami came into Game 7, outscoring Boston by 8 points as the 8th seed. And again, from knowing the knowledge, we thought Miami would beat Milwaukee in the opening round, which is rare when an 8 seed upsets a 1 seed. They got it done. When they went through New York, which we liked them to do because they had the numbers to beat New York, again, our eyebrows started to go up. We started to say, well, New York was the last 8 seed to go to the NBA Finals. And remember, New York got smoked by the Spurs in the NBA Finals as an 8 seed. Well, the parallel with the Spurs in Denver is they both joined the NBA in the same year after participating in the ABA. That was in the 76th season. This is the 76th anniversary season of the NBA. And mind slippage. 76th anniversary season. And oh yeah, with regards to the Spurs have a big storyline. You know, right after the NBA Finals, you got the NBA draft, and the Spurs got the number 1 overall pick, and they're supposed to get a European superstar. But 15 games, like Jokic number 15, 8 started. And with regards to 27, again, him being the 27th pick, and what we just said about Miami in 27 and holding Boston to 27 wins in Game 7 and outscoring Boston by 27 points. This year in the NHL, you have the Florida Panthers, who play just north of Miami, versus the Vegas Golden Knights. You got the Denver Golden Nuggets versus, the NBA team that's right where the Florida Panthers are. But 27 years ago in the NHL, the Florida Panthers faced the team in Denver, the Colorado Avalanche. So 27 years ago, you had the same cities playing each other in the NHL. This year, you got the Florida Panthers again in it. And Florida's having quite the year, aren't they? Again, they went further than expected in the Final Four. 2 Florida teams made it to the Final Four, including a 9 seed. By the way, from the day Miami got eliminated in the Final Four to Miami advancing to the championship yesterday was 58 days later, and Jimmy Butler got his 58th playoff win, and we'll talk more about that. But again, just all of the world of sports scripted together. And we were talking about 27 with the Miami Hurricanes. It was a huge number for us in the tournament with the Hurricanes. Again, always, year after year, talking about Miami and 27. This is the latest Miami 27 ritual. It will continue to go on as long as the same cabal controls these leagues. And again, if you're new here, what we figured out a long time ago and have been proving it for the last decade is who runs the show. The whole time I've been pointing out that all of pro sports, collegiate sports, it's so obvious that the Jesuit order controls them. And kind of makes sense because the Jesuit order controls this nation. It controls its media. It controls its government. It controls all the things that distract the minds of the masses. And you can see how it's all synced up together by the same code by learning this knowledge. So, Nikola Jokic and Nikola Jovic. By the way, just to give you another fun stat, just to show you another parallel. Here, let me pull this up here real quick, just so you can see this. Here's Boston's record in Game 7s. Yesterday, they got their 10th loss in a Game 7, which is fitting because they got it on the 29th. 29 is the 10th prime number. Again, that was JFK's birthday, number 35. Keep in mind, it's the 149th day of the year, May 29th. 149 is the 35th prime, so the team in their 35th season, the Heat, they get their 35th conference finals win to advance to the finals on a fitting day. Again, JFK's birthday, number 35. Who's from Massachusetts, like the Celtics. But Jimmy Butler, let me pull up basket. Here, let's bring up Jimmy Butler real quick. I want you to see that his birthday is September 14th, just like Ron DeSantis. He's got a September 14th birthday, 14/9, kind of like 149, right? 149. Jimmy Butler, the big star for the Miami Heat, gets it done on the 149th day of the year. Again, he got his 58th win in the playoffs yesterday, exactly 58 days after the Miami Hurricanes were eliminated in Houston when Jimmy Butler's from Houston. And then it was a year to the day. If you guys didn't notice, a year to the day last year. Remember last year, if you guys weren't with us last year before the playoffs started, we knew it was so easy. We said the Golden State Warriors will defeat the Boston Celtics in the finals. The Celtics will fall to 17-5 in the finals because Pope Francis equals 175. And you go back and look at the Pope's birthday, December 17th. The Warriors beat Boston in Boston, dropping Boston to 7-5 at home in the 75th anniversary season. Warriors end up winning the finals, getting their 75th postseason road win and becoming 7-5 in the championship. Keep in mind, in Gematria, Catholic Church equals 75. And if you go back to the Pope's birthday, you'll see the Warriors, they became 10-3 away by winning that game. And then the day that they won the finals, they scored 103 points. And then it was also the Ultimate Warrior's birthday, who's dead. Same people run the WWE, but Ultimate Warrior equals 103. And you might recall when LeBron won on the real King James's birthday when beating the Warriors, he wore the Ultimate Warrior t-shirt and got some flack for that. Of course, he beat Steph Curry, who was born in the same hospital as him. But Jimmy Butler. So Jimmy Butler, a year to the day, May 29th, 2022, he lost Game 7 to Boston in his home city, Miami, on the same day, May 29th. And then after the game, he said, next year we'll be in the same situation, but we'll win in advance. Well, a year to the day later, it's Game 7 again. This time he's in Boston instead of Miami, and this time he gets to punk the Miami home crowd. Or not the Miami home crowd, he gets to punk the Boston home crowd. And if you were watching the game yesterday, at 6 minutes left, as it looked like Boston had lost the game, they went all through they love to do it. I always talk about this, how they love to punk a home crowd. It's just the ultimate mockery. They know they just took all these people's money, energy, time, and just set them up for the ultimate disappointment. Boston got their ass kicked the whole game yesterday. It was if you're a sports fan, that's the kind of game you hate to see. Game where you're just losing the whole time. You might score 5 points and be like, oh, here we go, and then you don't go anywhere. You get an even deeper hole. It was that kind of game for the Boston fans, but bad from start to finish, and just going home wrecked. These sports fans who've invested so much time and energy into these games. And they were thinking they were going to do what they did 19 years ago, being the first MLB team to come back from 3-0. Remember what they did? That Boston-New York Yankees series, they came back from 3-0. The last game the Yankees won, they scored 19 runs. Then 19 years later, Boston almost does it, only to get beat by 19 points on a Monday, the day of the week named after the moon, when the moon's on the 19-year cycle. But anyhow, Jimmy Butler, when they played the clip of him last night at the end of the game, shortly after they showed all the disappointed fans, it was probably a few more minutes into the game, probably about 3 minutes left. Miami was up 23 points. Yesterday's date numerology was 23. We all know who wore number 23 in Chicago, who looks a lot like Jimmy Butler. Maybe not quite as much as Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. But again, this is a father-son league. But with Miami up 23, they quickly go to Jimmy Butler a year to the day, and they point out that it's a year to the day. Jimmy Butler's saying, we're going to be in the same situation next year, but we're going to get it done. And then the announcer's like, oh, he called that. And it's just like, I mean, you guys, it's sad. It's sad what they've done to us as Americans. They filled us up with all this pride and that we're so great and we're the smartest, bravest, freest people ever, just pledging with our hands on our heart about how brave and free we are. And that's not what's going on. We're enslaved. We're dumb. We're chemically stupefied. And we're just mocked. By a ruling millionaire class who's essentially just spitting in our face. Reggie Miller yesterday, talking about how he was on the team that went down to the 8-seed Knicks, but then he made the point, but next year we came back and beat them. It's like, who cares, Reggie? You went down to an 8-seed. You should be embarrassed. But of course, these guys are in the club, right? They're preserving the legacy of trying to sell it to you like it's real. And again, what am I telling about? Who runs the whole show? The Jesuits, right? Where did Jimmy Butler go? Jesuit Marquette in Milwaukee. Where think about who the teams that Miami went through. They went through Milwaukee, where Marquette is. Then they went through the Knicks, the only 8 seed to ever make it. And then they went through Boston to give us the exact scenario they had last year, which Jimmy Butler said would happen. It'd be the same scenario, but he would win. And it was almost identical. It was just they're in Boston instead of Miami. But look, Jimmy Butler, again, born 14/9, gets it done on the 149th day of the year. And in Gematria, again, if you're new here, Gematria is very simple. It's the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. You see how Jimmy Butler forwards is 148 with numerology 49, with reverse 149, and with reverse and numerology 68. That, for the record, that 49 number is so huge with the Chicago Bulls. If 49's on the board in a Bulls game, it's happening. Chicago Bulls knows how it's 49 and 68 in the same ciphers as Jimmy Butler. Look at basketball. Basketball 68 in the same cipher. Remember the first March Madness? It was the Catholic school Villanova over the Jesuit school Georgetown. Catholicism 68, mathematics is 68. Now the March Madness tournament has 68 teams in it. Basketball alone is 85. The first March Madness in 85. Boston's also 85. Yesterday, Miami became 8-5 in Boston in the playoffs, head-to-head for those two teams. 8-5. You know what else is amazing about what they did yesterday? You see how Heat is 20? The Heat got their 20th win over Boston. But yesterday, the Heat came in against Boston, all-time record in the playoffs, 19-17. 19-17. Check this out. JFK birthday, May 29th, 1917. Yesterday, the Heat came in 19-17 in the playoffs versus Boston on JFK's birthday, number 35, getting their 35th conference finals win in their 35th season. On the 149th day of the year, the 35th prime. And again, the Jesuits serve the Catholic Church. Catholics 35 forwards, 46 in reverse. JFK, the first Catholic president, number 35, killed at 46. Joe Biden, the nation's second Catholic president, number 46, elected exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. And let's not forget, Beau Biden died at age 46 on this day, May 30th, 2015. And let's not forget that Joe Biden's Secret Service name is Celtic. And remember the day he announced he was running for president, John Havlicek of the Celtics died, number 17 days after his birthday, while the Celtics are on 17 championships. And the Celtics also stayed on 17 wins yesterday versus the Heat in the playoffs. Okay. And let's not forget also about Jim Brown's death in the time of these conference finals. Jim Brown dead by the numbers, as we talked about. Jim Brown, Jim Butler, you know, how it's all connected. One big script controlled by one Jesuit cabal, or you can refer to them as the Illuminati if you want. Again, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. But yeah, just the ritualism, the perfection of it. And also, again, Bill Russell. Bill Russell, who was Jesuit educated, died July 31st, the last day of the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year, died on the 31st, the 11th prime, the man who took his team to 11 championships. And from Bill Russell's death, here, Bill Russell died July 31st last year. Look at this. July 31st, 2022. Oops, the wrong button. July 31st, 2022 to the day the final starts, 6-1. Look at this. 305 days later, 305. Who's got the 305 area code? Miami. So 305 days after Bill Russell's death, Miami's going to be in the finals. And isn't that number also a lot like 35? You know? And then you got Spoelstra, the Jesuit coach. You got Jimmy Butler, the Jesuit star. Here's another good one. Look at this. Look at the last time Miami and Denver played each other. And understand, for people who are watching this, if you think this all before the fact, go back and watch our stream yesterday from before the games. We looked at all this stuff well before the games. We've talked about these same patterns over and over. Heat Nuggets head-to-head. I just want you to see the last time the Heat Nuggets played was February 13th. I want you to see this. They played on 2-1-3, February 13th. All-time, 38-34, the Nuggets are versus the Heat. And we're always talking about Colorado and 38, right? Colorado equals 38. It's the 38 state in order of statehood. Nuggets just happen to have 38 wins versus the Heat. LeBron goes down at age 38 to Denver. This year he set the points record that lasted for 38 years, scoring 38 points on the 38th day of the year, and on and on and on. But the line, if you're betting on this, you have to lay $380, 380 to win 100 if the Nuggets win the finals. You have to lay $100 to win 300 if you take the Miami Heat in this series. So anyhow, what I want you to see, though, is the last time they played was 2-1-3. 2-1-3. The finals are going to begin June 1st on Eric Spoelstra's 213th day of his age. And as we've talked about so many times, the NBA Finals equals 2-1-3. And this year, the finals do begin on June 1st, which is the day leaving 213 days left in the year. 2-1-3. Okay? 2-1-3. So, again, just how perfect the ritualism is. Absolutely perfect. And, okay. So, in the beginning of April, if you guys were following what I was talking about when Trump was in the courtroom on April 4th, on 4/4, the New York Post did a big story about how the week before Trump was in there, they had just filmed the latest Joker movie in that same courtroom. The latest Joker movie in the same courtroom. And for years, Donald Trump's been referring to himself as Batman. So what I mentioned briefly in my public streams and what we talked about in greater length on Patreon was, we're winding down at the end of the NBA season. We got another big Donald Trump news story right as the playoffs are coming into focus. Here's Batman again with Donald Trump. Anyone who watched ESPN this morning heard JJ Reddick keep talking about Batman in regards to this NBA Finals. Just kept talking about it. And by the way, again, the star of the Denver Nuggets is Joker, right? And he advanced to the finals on Novak Djokovic's birthday, May 22nd, the star tennis player who's also known as Joker. And during these finals, the French Open will be going on. And the two favorites to win the tournament are Joker and Nadal. And funny enough, if Nadal wins it, he'll get his 15th French Open win, like how Joker in the NBA wears number 15. And remember, Nadal's now the good guy in tennis. He's like the good guy. He's like Batman because he got the jab and said everybody should get the jab. And it's only fair if we all get the jab and only good people get the jab. And then the Joker, that one selfish guy, he didn't want to get the jab, right? And let's not forget that last Joker movie came out right. Remember how it ends with everybody wearing a mask? That movie came out right at the end of 2019, right when COVID was getting underway in China, right after the Event 201 simulation, and then the next thing you know, everybody in America had to wear a mask, like everybody's wearing a mask at the end of Joker. And by the way, again, if you guys aren't that familiar, here, actually, I gotta tell you two things real quick. You see how NBA Finals is 33 in the most pure? Jokic and his coach both got their 33rd playoff wins to advance to the NBA Finals. By the way, Pat Riley's 78 years old right now. He's looking pretty wild, Pat Riley. He didn't look too good on TV. I was like, man, Pat, something happened to Pat's face. But anyway, Jokic and his coach, Malone, got their 33rd wins to advance to the NBA Finals. And Jimmy Butler's 33 years old right now. His father had a lot of 33 rituals. Michael, he won 3 championships, and then he took a break, and then he won 3 more. And after he won his 3rd, his dad died 33 days later. Remember that? A lot of death in the rigged NBA because the psychopaths rule it. But about 33. The 33rd episode of Batman, by the way, they called Jimmy Butler Batman. And this is what I said in the beginning of April. In the beginning of April, I speculated that the most likely NBA Finals was Denver and Boston because they refer to Grant Williams of the Celtics as Batman because of how well he guards Joker. Well, what I missed at that point was that Jimmy Butler is also known as Batman. And they even started calling Jaylen Brown Batman this year because of the mask he was wearing. So for everybody who took my advice at the beginning of April and put in a future for Denver-Boston, like I told him yesterday in yesterday's game, I said, well, if you have that future in, let's say you put $100 on that, you're in position to get a good payout if it is Boston-Denver. But the one thing that could upset it is if Miami gets number 35 today, if you're in that position, make sure if you bet 100 on Denver-Boston future, put 100 on Miami today because they pay out pretty much 3-1. They actually paid 260 to 1, kind of like 26 to 1. or 2.6 to 1, but 2.6 like Jordan, right? Yesterday was 101 days after Michael Jordan's birthday, the 26th prime number. Finals equals 20, or excuse me, finals equals 101. The 26th prime. His son Jimmy Jordan advanced, but in those finals is 38 too. And funny enough, both Boston and Miami are on 38 wins against Denver all time. But anyway, the 33rd episode of Batman. In the dialogue of that show, part of the commentary is that Bruce Wayne's grandfather founded Skull and Bones at Yale. Okay? Skull and Bones at Yale. And Skull and Bones equals 149. The series with now Batman Joker gets complete. And this is why we thought it was going to go to game 7. We had this hunch even when they were up 3-0. We're like, man, because before the series began, we were just looking at how much game 7 made sense for a million different reasons, especially after Carmelo retired too, who's born on May 29th. Yesterday was Carmelo's birthday, and number 7, who retired 7 days for his birthday, only for Miami to advance to their 7th championship on that day to face Denver, the team that drafted him. Melo retired the same day the Lakers got swept. We talked about that then. But Skull and Bones 149. Skull and Bones is modeled after the Templars. The Templar cross is in the middle of the Jesuit logo. Skull and Bones in Connecticut. Connecticut big this year with the March Madness ritual down in Houston, where Jimmy Butler's from, who's born on 14/9. Again, whose name equals 149. You know what I mean? Just how all this stuff comes back together. And yeah, the National Basketball Association is 329. 329. Russell Trust Association. Or hold on. I have it wrong. What is the official name of that thing? Or is it the Russell Trust Association? Is that what I'm doing wrong? What am I missing right now? Ah! Hold on. Did I spell it wrong? There it is. I spelled it wrong. My bad. Russell Trust Association, 329. Remember we were talking about this huge ritual they did earlier in the playoffs with Boston in 329? Again, the Russell Trust Association is the money behind Skull and Bones. And if you want to look deeper into this is way bigger than basketball. Remember how when George Herbert Walker Bush was president, he was number 41, right? Skull and Bones 41. He's born on June 12th, the day leaving 202 days left in the year. His son, who became president, is born on July 6th, 7/6, like Daniel Tcoit Gilman, who founded the Johns Hopkins up in Baltimore. His name's also 76. But they referred to George Herbert Walker Bush as Poppy Bush. Poppy Bush. As in poppies, as in heroin, opioids. If you look into what originally got all the money in the Russell Trust Association, they were big in the opioid business. And then they've gone into hospitals and pharmaceuticals. And I mean, again, this is a whole nother topic, but like I'm saying, the stuff I'm teaching you about, this is way bigger than basketball. This is the same code that they're using to control our history books, what we understand about this world. Again, sports are just part of the distraction to keep us content with our enslavement. You know, there's so many men in this nation who really don't like, you know, a lot about our existence, but they enjoy watching the sports game. They grew up playing the game. They love the game. Now they like watching the game. It pacifies them. It's been going on for way longer than America. But okay. Again, just trying to shed light on who is behind these rituals. Jimmy Butler, again, yesterday picked up his 58th win. His 58th win, 58 days after the Miami Hurricanes were eliminated. If you go back and look at the Hurricanes, they scored 59 points. You see how Freemasonry has the gematria of 58 and 59? Modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuit order. That's how all these things come together. Freemasons historically are builders. Who has the nicest buildings in almost every town across this world? The Catholic Church. Okay. Jesuits served the Catholic Church. Jesuits created modern Freemasonry. Their knowledge is biblical. We understand the Bible as we do because of the Catholic Church. The biggest star in the NBA right now is Catholic educated. LeBron James, who's named after the King James, who has a Bible named after him. The real King James died at age 58. Okay. Freemasonry 58. The real King James was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian. And I got to spell right. Rosicrucian's also 58, like secret societies 58, like all of Freemasonry's secrets are in Solomon's Temple 58. And to get your first 3 degrees, you got to do a tracing board for each degree and blah, blah, blah. You know, this 58 number is huge. It's in things like Kobe Bryant. Remember, Kobe Bryant died on the 271st day of the new emperor of Japan, which is the 58th prime. And he's the 126th emperor, and Kobe's dead on 126. And of course, Kobe Bryant's also 41 forwards, like how he died on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. And Kobe Japan was established on April 1st. But anyway, Kobe Bryant's 58, just like Los Angeles Lakers is 58. And so is London, England, where modern Freemasonry was created. See how London, England's 59 and 58, just like Freemasonry, just like Pope Francis, who does the hidden hand, the Masonic pose, who's the first Jesuit Pope. Again, these numbers matter. Miami scores 59, 58 days after they're eliminated with 59 points. Jimmy Butler's getting his 58th playoff win. And, you know, his daddy, Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan. So here, I'll give you 3 scenarios to think about with these NBA finals. Jimmy Butler's on 58 playoff wins right now. 58. If he only won 1 game in the playoffs, he'd go down 4-1. And it would be a lot like the other time an 8 seed made it to the finals. They lost 4-1. The Knicks lost to the Spurs 4-1. Again, the Knicks in Denver joined the NBA in the 76th season. This is the 76th anniversary season. Notice Michael Jordan also equals 76. Like it's the year 23. And they had to give us the clip yesterday of Jimmy Butler telling us the future a year to the day while they were up with 23. But that's one scenario. Jimmy only wins 1 game and has 59 wins in tribute to his pops. Remember last year, or actually it was this year. This year, this year we saw that if the Bulls went on a huge losing streak, they would end up 26 and 33 on the last day of Michael Jordan being 59 years old. You see how Michael's 33 and Jordan's 26? Again, go back and look. The Bulls went on a nice losing streak and ended up 26 and 33 on Jordan's last day of being 59 years old. The year before that, we said, oh, here's a nice little winning streak. If the Bulls, who are 19 and 8 at home, who have 4 straight games at home, win all 4 games, notice they're going to be 23 and 8 just in time for Michael Jordan's 59th birthday. What did the Bulls do? They won 4 straight, and they became 23 and 8 for Michael Jordan's 59th birthday. Now in the 76th anniversary season, we see where his son Jimmy Jordan's going, right? So one scenario is that he only wins 1 game for 59, okay? Jordan's 60 years old this year. If he won 2 games, he'd have 60 wins like Jordan's 60. Or, here's another thought. Miami shocks the world. Jimmy Butler wins 4 games, putting him at 62 postseason wins over the Denver Nuggets, which equals 62. And, you pay attention, that's been a huge number in sports recently. Georgia, 62, been doing well in college football, World Series recently. Mahomes, won another Super Bowl. And the list goes on. This number's been all over in this recent time of the death of the Queen. And so anyhow, those are the clues. You got to pay attention to what numbers are dropping in the game. I mean, by the way, it is the Denver Nuggets' 56th season this year. The Miami Heat advancing to the finals yesterday. They got their 56th win of the season to now face the Denver Nuggets in their 56th season. Of course, we're always talking about 56. 1,056 rituals in these playoffs. The biggest one of all was on May 6th, 5-6. Again, that was the day of the king's coronation in England. And the last king of England died at age 56. Again, in Gematria, royal families 56. It was the day of the Kentucky Derby. And that's also 56. And Todd Pletcher had the 2 favorite horses in post 5 and 6. And one of them was King's Barnes. That day, D'Angelo Russell, who's from Louisville, Kentucky, where the race is, got his 56th win with the Lakers. That day, Anthony Davis, who played at Kentucky, it was 56 days after Anthony Davis's birthday. and LeBron became 5-6 at home versus Steph Curry in the playoffs. Again, Steph Curry was born in the same hospital as LeBron. Again, look at how rigged this is. Look how perfectly planned all of this is. The huge king ritual with the Lakers playing Steph Curry. Stephen means crown. The name Stephen or Stephen, how he pronounces it, means crown versus King James. So you have the huge king ritual in that round in the time of the king's coronation. And let's not forget that Nick Gilbert died that same day, whose name equals 56. Again, his father owns the Cavaliers. Those who fought for King Charles were called Cavaliers. King Charles was the son of King James. Now we're in the time of King Charles III. Again, when you spell out 3 as a word, it's 56. D'Angelo Russell started that game 3 for 3 from three-point land. You see how coronavirus is 56, so is COVID vaccine, 56. So is the first person in the world who got vaccinated, Maggie Keenan. And then Captain Tom of the Burma campaign, 56. Burma campaign, Captain Tom died 56 days after being knighted by the Queen. And remember, on the anniversary of Sandy Hook was established in 1956. The shooting was 56 years later on the anniversary of Sandy Hook. By the way, the shooter of Sandy Hook was Adam Peter Lanza, 56. But on the anniversary of Sandy Hook school shooting, then the first person to get the shot in the U.S. for COVID was Sandy Lindsay. And then the next year, Steph Curry setting the three-point record, 3-point shots. And that was like at the same time that Bill de Blasio in New York was telling New York that they had to go get their third shot. But who did Steph Curry beat again? He surpassed Ray Allen, who played at UConn, Connecticut, where Skull and Bones is, where Sandy Hook happened. See how it all comes together, just the news, the sports, the rituals. Again, those politicians from Yale always talking about this new world order. This father-son basketball league where they're all Manchurians, born and bred to be, born on the perfect day for their planned rituals on the planned chessboard. Again, the Jesuits created modern Freemasonry. Their symbol's the chessboard, right? The black and white floor. They got the chessboard all set for all their little planned rituals. You know, phrases like, I'm 10 moves ahead of you. These people are like literally 56 moves ahead of us. Avin Newsom. I'm going to lock down California. 56% of you are going to get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. Can you hear? Kobe just died, and we buried him in Corona Del Mar, coincidentally on the first case of COVID in California. You know? Don't you guys remember? Coronavirus pandemic, 113. Coronavirus pandemic, 113, right? The National Basketball Association. 113. Remember what day it was declared, the pandemic? The same day they locked down the NBA on 11/3, and they blamed the lockdown in the NBA on the Frenchman Rudy Gobert. Like how the Jesuits are from France, like how the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry came to power in France. Freemasons, 56, just like Society of Jesus. Anthony Fauci, like how Trump's Jesuit education began in 1964, 56 years before 2020. You know, all these guys are in the club. He went to Fordham, like Cuomo was the 56th governor of New York, who also went to Fordham, Jesuit educated. Okay. So again, it's way bigger than basketball. Miami Heat got that 56th win of the season yesterday to advance to the finals. To play Denver in their 56th season. Jimmy Butler had 56 points in one of those big upset games. Jesuit educated again at Marquette. RIP to Chris Farley. You know, Chris Farley, beginning of Tommy Boy. Where's he at? He's at Marquette. He can't answer the question about John Hancock. By the way, 56 signers on the Declaration of Independence. Jesuits have had this nation from the beginning. He doesn't know the answer about John Hancock. He thinks it's Herbie Hancock. End of that movie. Remember how Tommy Boy ends? It happened. That movie came out a little bit before 9/11. Ends with him dressing up like a terrorist and going into the tower in Chicago. Remember where they said they found, Chris Farley dead at? In that same building that they show at the end of Tommy Boy, where he goes in like a terrorist. Said he had an OD in there. This cabal, these cabals, we're rolled over by the mob, you guys. Just like how the mafia goes back to Italy, so do the Jesuits, the Vatican. All roads lead to Rome. Skull and Bones related. All these things. Remember how what they kept showing you during the Final Four? They kept showing you the Coke commercial with Hakeem Tabit jersey, and then the Coke City, Miami. UConn goes through Miami to get to the championship. Coke equals 34, huge number in the tournament. And if you added up all the seeds that Connecticut went through to get to the championship, with Miami being the last one before they got there, it added up to 34, the seeding. Hashim Tabit, 120. It was Connecticut's 120th season. They outscored all the teams that they beat by 120 combined points. Oh, man. You know what else is crazy? Yesterday when Jimmy Butler advanced, he advanced on his 258th day of his age. You see how Hashim Tabit's also 258? So his Order of Illuminati, 258. So his Number of the Beast. Today's 258 days after Jimmy Butler's birthday. Yesterday was his 258th day of his age. That's the way this is set up. This is always days after birthday, so you just got to add +1 to know what day of their age it is. But this is Basketball Reference. Okay. So the other piece of this, again, in beginning of April, we said, looks like they might sync up another championship with Donald Trump. And this morning, everything I've been saying about Batman and Joker, if you had ESPN on, was more than confirmed with JJ Reddick. And since when did JJ Reddick take over ESPN? God, they have him on all day, every day. He's all over First Take. He's become like number 2 on First Take. When did this happen? Like, when did JJ Reddick become the guy on ESPN? He's just such a contrived character, JJ Reddick. But anyway, it just all morning, just Batman references. And I was just like, oh my God, these people are clowning. We've been talking about this for a long time, really. Again, if you've read my first book that I wrote in 2017, there's a chapter on all kinds of stuff on Donald Trump and the number 58 and his Batman infatuation and how sports are all connected and rigged and scripted. But coming back to the Trump piece, again, Jimmy Butler got his 58th win yesterday, 58 days after Miami was eliminated in Houston, which is Jimmy Butler's hometown. So, remember, Donald Trump, here, I just want to put up both these ciphers here. Donald Trump, when he won the election in 2016, that was the 58th presidential election, Freemasonry 58. He announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower. He hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day. And Steve Ray's an announcer for the Washington Nationals. Well, remember, Trump took office with the 115th Congress. And then what World Series did the Nationals win? They won the 115th World Series. And they won it 138 days after Donald Trump's birthday, when Donald Trump, Nationals, and Dave Martinez, the name of their manager, all equal 138 like federal. But again, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Rosicrucian 58. We went over this. If you run it the other way around, Fraternals 58, Fraternal Order. So now again, another big 58 on this is Jimmy Butler goes to the finals, and his nickname's also Batman. Now, when I say Batman in Denver, do you remember what happened in 2012 with Batman in the suburb of Denver, Aurora, Colorado? James Egan Holmes with the orange hair, not to be confused with the overgrown orange Oompa Loompa Donald Trump, who calls himself Batman. James Egan Holmes, right? James Egan Holmes. Check it out. 58, right? Now, remember, that year for Batman, they put out the toy map. Of Gotham City. And for all the years that Batman's ever existed, there's been the Gotham map, and you can look it up, and there's these different neighborhoods in it. And one of the neighborhoods was always called South Hinckley. Well, that year, for that 2012 film, they changed the neighborhood name of South Hinckley. And do you know what they changed it to? They changed it to something else with SH initials, which ended up having a mass shooting later that year on December 14th. Sandy Hook. And Sandy Hook happened on December 14th, 2012. 12 plus 14 plus 20 plus 12. 58, right? 58 date numerology. Again, I was talking about how you went from Sandy Hook to Sandy, the nurse, the first jab person on the anniversary, to then Steph Curry setting the three-point record on that same anniversary date. And again, Golden State's also got that 58 in it. Golden State's 41-58, just like Kobe Bryant. Remember the day of Kobe's last game? The day of Kobe's last game. What was going on? Who remembers it? You had an NBA game on ESPN1, Kobe's last game, and on ESPN2, you also had the Warriors' last game of the season. They were the last games of the season, both televised on the two ESPN channels, and the Warriors eclipsed Michael Jordan and the Bulls' win record, getting their 73rd win, 73. And do you remember what the huge ritual was? Check this out. All right, let's just do the most simple cipher and the cipher known as Sumerian gematria, which is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. You see how Kobe Bryant's 113 and 678? So is Michael Jordan, 113 and 678. Kobe's last game was exactly 678 weeks after Michael Jordan's last game. And Michael Jordan's last game was against Philadelphia, Kobe's hometown. Now, the Warriors are from Philadelphia, and the day that the day that Kobe played his last game, and by the way, Utah Jazz were the one team in the league that also equal 113 and 678. Jordan beat them twice in the finals. Kobe played his last game against them. They were blamed for the coronavirus pandemic on 113 in the NBA and the lockdown. But the day that Kobe played his last game against Utah and the Warriors eclipsed Jordan's win record, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who are both the sons of former NBA players, Michael Thompson of the Lakers is Klay's father, and Del Curry of several teams is Steph Curry's father. But Klay Thompson and Steph Curry set an NBA three-point record, combining for 678 three-pointers for the year in a season. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm not putting out bad information. I haven't brought up that one for a minute. Hold on. I want to make sure that's right, that's what they did. Let's see. I know that Kobe, hold on. All right. So here, just so you can see this with your own eyes right here. Jordan's last game to Kobe's last game. I got lots of information here. I got to laugh at things about how they take Jordan off the court with a minute 44 on the clock again. Jesuit order 144. But hold on. Let me see. Make sure this is the right post. All right, so here it is. From Jordan's last game, April 16th, to Kobe's last game, April 13th, 2003 to 2016, 678 weeks. Jordan plays his last game in 2003. Remember how they brought him back, kind of like 23, number 23. And let me see, is this the post? Shoot. I know that they paid tribute to one of the numbers for the combined record that they got in that game. It fit in with it, and I want to make sure that I'm not overstating it, because it's like, well, wait a minute, did they combine for 670? That's a lot of damn three-pointers in a season. It's like 8 a game between the two of them. But hold on, here's also a Klay Thompson NBA three-point record that was perfect, and no, it's against the Bulls again, right? But I want you to see how I think this is the one that's perfectly synced with his father. Hold on. Shoot, I'm getting a phone call I need to take. Hold on. If you guys need a drink, I got to take this call. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Hello? Okay, apologies. But here, I was going to go over this Klay Thompson thing, but while I was just away on the phone, I also snapped back into my mind. Let's just see. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, NBA record. I think it's 678 combined three-pointers. Yep. That's exactly. So you see how perfect it is, you guys? Curry made 402 three-pointers that year. Thompson made 276 for a combined 678, doing it on the same day that Kobe Bryant retires exactly 678 weeks after Jordan. Kobe's father was drafted by Golden State. Again, eclipsing Michael Jordan's win record. It's just, I mean, it's always a perfect numerical ritual. Again, in my book from 2017, all of this is in there. All of this is in the 2017 book because this happened in 2016. And they eclipsed the record for combined by 153. Again, who are we saying is running this whole show? The Jesuit order. You know, Jordan comes off the floor. Hold on. Jordan comes off the floor with a minute 44. You know, they eclipsed the three-point record by 153 three-point shots made. By the way, 153 is the 17th triangular number. That's why when LeBron first went from the 17th state, Ohio, to LA, they at first reported it was a $153 million deal. And then that was part of why we said LeBron will win the Lakers their 17th championship in his 17th season in the 17 league. And then they did. So, and you see how Jesuit order is also 54, just like Steph Curry is. And remember when Boston snapped the 54-game home winning streak of the Warriors, the NBA record in Oracle, back when they used to have 1,054 rituals in that building? And you see how words like ritual are 27 and 45, like Miami's 27 and 45. And now, again, they got this all synced up with Donald Trump, Batman, number 45. You guys see how Berlin Wall? You see how Berlin Wall's 45 and 63? Again, Trump announced as president-elect on the 27-year anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall in 2016, when 2016 is the 63rd triangular number. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad died at age 63. That year in 2016, Muhammad Ali was dead on June 3rd, 6'3". And remember, 4 years before he died, we explained why he would die at age 74. Muhammad, 74. Special number connected to death and killing as well. Killing, 74. Jesus, 74. Kobe, 33. Kobe dead while traveling from Catholic Mass in the NBA's 74th season. You know? Dead at 41, like Kobe Bryant's 41, like Crucify's 41. Dead on the Pope's 41st day of his age. You know? Hold on. I'm trying to go. I haven't looked at this Klay Thompson thing in a minute. Klay Thompson, born on 8/2, 82 games in the NBA season, pro basketball, 82-like game. Oh, yeah, Klay Alexander Thompson, his full name, 314, like how Curry's born on 314, Pi Day. See how boring? That's why the rituals just fit together so perfect. It's all mathematics. Again, modern Freemasonry, a Jesuit creation. What's Freemasonry really into? Really into the Pythagoreans, Pythagoras, the Greeks, mathematics. All is number, etched all over the Masonic temples. All is number, the Pythagoras quote. All is number, the fourth book of the Bible's numbers. LeBron, King James, biblical. You know, Philadelphia, a biblical name. LeBron passes Kobe in Kobe's hometown, Philly, dribbling over the Snakes, and then the Black Mamba's dead the next day. And if you guys go watch my video on Gematria Effect Sports, published the day before LeBron passed Kobe. In that video, I talked about the death of Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins and how both of them died for Kobe's last season. Moses Malone was drafted by Utah. Kobe played his last game against Utah. Daryl Dawkins was dead at age 58. Moses Malone was dead on September 13th. And all synced up with his last game. But yeah, if you go back and watch that video, I explained why LeBron would pass Kobe on January 25th, how people die for these rituals, and then what do you know? Here, again. You see how Kobe Bryant, like we just said, is 41 in the most pure cipher, like he died at 41. But his full name, Kobe Bean Bryant's 54, like how he died the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. And again, LeBron passed him the day before on 25/1 when the number 251 is the 54th prime number. And again, go watch my video from the day before LeBron passed Kobe. I made this point. What point did LeBron score in the game to pass Kobe? He scored the 54th points of the game. Again, Jesuit order 54. Sun 54. They're a sun cult. Language, right? Language. Same rituals over and over. Hold on. Itachi wants to call in. What's up, Itachi?
Not much. I believe Lower Merion was 126 years old when he died as well.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Someone may need to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's, what happened, just like how they, released the Black Mamba.
And again, it's all biblical to understand why 126 is so important to him. Genesis 1:26, where God makes man. Here's a man who's worshipped as a god. Bryant equals 26, like God, like Adam, like how man's made in the 26th verse. So,
yeah, and you know what's crazy? Like these same people who, when I found your work and I found your video of you talking about 54, and then I go see it happen, after Kobe dies, just looking for the answers. They're finally sending like Instagram videos, like, wow, check out this, crazy coincidence with this Kobe commercial in the helicopter. Just like 3 years later, I'm like, I remember sitting you guys down, showing you all this stuff. The Damian Lillard song "Funeral," where he mentions Kobe and Gianna, that came out before Kobe died as well. But it's crazy, it's just like the sheep are on their own time. You could show them this same stuff, but they really have to just go and see it themselves for it to click to them. You can't like open anyone's eyes for them. And that's why when they see the Nikola Jovic stuff and Nikola Jokic, they think we're reaching. They think like, just making it work.
Again, you got to be a real moron to look at the fact that he played in 15 games and started 8. And again, I mean, at the 8 seed facing number 15, it's just, you got to be brain dead to think all this stuff's a coincidence. It proves exactly what we're saying, that everything's a ritual. It's all about the numbers. These people don't have an argument. There's no argument they have.
They don't. That's why it's supposed to be game calling or not. Saying you have to predict everything 100%, or else it's not that way. But who else retired that day? Number 15, Carmelo. 2000, that's LeBron's 2003 week.
And he also again wore 7 and retired 7 days before his birthday, only for Miami to advance to their 7th finals in Game 7 again to play Denver. So.
Yeah. So Denver, number 15. I think they came back from down.
And something else I just thought about. Okay, in the 94th NFL season, again, Denver's 94, Seattle, Washington's 94. The Seahawks defeated Denver. The first ever Seahawks football team was the Miami Seahawks, and Denver just won their 94th postseason game to make it to their first finals. Now they're playing Miami. And again, it's a reminder that this stuff is deep and the rituals are redundant. If you can catch the patterns, you'll see how they've been doing the same thing throughout history. So again, the Miami Seahawks, they only lasted 1 season. They went 3-11, and then they folded and became the Baltimore Colts in history, which is interesting because Baltimore, Jim Brown just died, and his old Browns team became Baltimore, and Baltimore's 58, and the 58th Super Bowl's upcoming. But go ahead.
Crazy. It's like, how Miami. You also got to check out Miami Marlins series. I think they scored 19 or 23 runs against the Rockies. Like, well, both teams were up 3-0. So that happened, a week before the series finished. Miami's baseball team versus Denver's baseball team, and someone scored 19 runs in there. I just listened to all that you were saying. But, they set it up so well with the bait. They have the Boston Red Sox on June 12th playing, the Denver Rockies.
Well, so that's the thing, too, is do they set up multiple scripts in case there's too much money a certain way? Yes. Again, what are the odds? We know how big 38 is with the finals in Colorado. What are the odds that both Boston and Miami were both? So the Denver Nuggets, if you guys look this up, they have 38 all-time wins against Miami, but they also have 38 all-time wins against Boston. Either way, they have that 38 ready to go for either team.
It is crazy how they do it sometimes. It's like that game 1. LeBron could have got his 183rd win, but instead the Denver Nuggets became 18-3 at home in game 1. It's like,
they had the 183 either way. And like we said, if LeBron does not win that game, it does not look good for him for the series. That might be the end of the King ritual. It might just be set up for the series where the King's coronation is going on. And again, then the Joker. So we have the King ritual, and then we have the Joker ritual. And again, cards. Donald Trump began running for president during the time of the hit show House of Cards. Trump is terminology from a card game. Now we got the Joker beating the King. When Jokers are wild, they do beat Kings and Aces. So again, just all the jokes. And it's all games, right? Card games, basketball game. The whole game's rigged 52 weeks a year, 52 cards in the deck. The calendar's named after the Pope, Pope 52. I mean, These people, these people that roll over us, they're evil geniuses. So
it's funny too. They're playing the only team that has any guys who could have a Batman nickname, right? And they're like two of the most opposite players. One's like a star, the one's barely trying to make a rotation, but they both have the nickname Batman.
We're talking about
Jimmy
Grant
Butler.
Williams and Jimmy Butler. So either way, they had a Batman Joker narrative set up through either team as well.
And you were the only one talking about that stuff back in April. I thought it was too much. I'm like, really, Batman, Joker? I get it's big, it's skull and bones, but they literally just did it. That was the whole ritual. I mean, they have videos of Grant Williams dressed up as Batman.
And again, it's the 76th anniversary season and the 77th pro basketball season. Trump is going to turn from age 76 to 77 during the NBA Finals.
And you said the Denver Nuggets equals
76 and 77, yeah.
Yeah, like the Miami Heat, if you write out the Miami Heat, it equals the same exact thing as Chicago Bulls. Those are the only two places that have retired Jordan's jersey. And it's just like there's some clear ritual connection going on. But yeah, it's a super match if you put the word the in front of Miami Heat. So it's some weird kind of just transfer energy ritual they're doing. You know, Jordan's son, you can't wear the jersey there, all that. But I just it's interesting. I don't know. People are still wondering how this. I mean, I get the Game 6 ending, but for to take the Game 6 ending, that crazy type of finish, it's harder to make an iPhone than to script that, right? A guy misses a shot, a guy gets a putback shot.
A part of me wonders if that was not supposed to happen. A part of me wonders if Miami was supposed to win Game 6 and that tip wasn't supposed to happen because, again, it was National Jordan Day.
Yeah, but they threw on the extra time on the clock. And, just trying to.
You guys got to go back and watch the end of Game 6. Jimmy Butler gets fouled with 2.1 seconds on 21 field goal attempts with 21 points scored in the game, and then they end up adjusting it to 3 seconds, which made it just enough for the tip. So
too perfect when I see that type of stuff. And then I don't know. The first game I ever watched, it was after the stuff after the pandemic, they won on a free throw rebound, and I'm sitting how do you script that? But yeah, Robert Covington, jump up there, get it. The other people look like you're going for it. My main point is the people who see that type of stuff and they just deny, Jason Tatum being a dud in all these major moments. They act like, see, this cancels out that, because I can't imagine how you script this. All those other games are legit, even though it's a bunch of the games are so fake. It's just a bunch of 14-0 runs, 13-0 runs.
Isn't it hilarious when you know the knowledge and you watch what's going on and the numbers they put up and when the run started at? It's look at how perfectly scripted the game is. Again, for anyone out there who doubts this knowledge, instead of just being some monkey on the sidelines being oh, I don't think so, actually pay attention to what I'm saying and watch sports with the knowledge, and you'll see there's no... How many times have I taught about Houston in 31? Remind me, did UConn win the championship, winning their 31st game of the season? Again, it's the same stuff over and over. We were winning with Miami in the tournament with 27. Now a huge 27 ritual as Miami goes to the championship. And again, you see how it's connected. Jimmy Butler's from Houston. Miami goes down in Houston. All of it's connected in one big script.
It just reminded me of 2011 more. I just remember San Diego State playing UConn. That was a 2011 NCAA, and 2011 is the 305th prime number. And it's interesting because Miami was there as well, the 305. And I'm trying to think, the Heat did go to the finals in 2011 and losing some great white star who swept the Lakers the round before, Dirk Nowitzki. It's just they could be paying tribute to 2011, but I don't know, just something about that 2011 305th prime relationship, the second time in major basketball, it's kind of, manifesting. So
Sure. Here, another thing that I'll say for people to think about the ritual yesterday. So again, we have this parallel with the NBA and hockey. All the 27s in the NBA series. 27 years ago, it was Colorado versus Florida in the Stanley Cup. Yesterday, Dallas got eliminated on JFK's birthday. Of course, JFK died in Dallas. And, Miami was, the whole Fidel Castro thing when JFK was in office. But just all these historical tributes. Just how it's all connected, one ritual after the next. And, again, this is connected to Trump and the upcoming election and then the time of another Catholic president. And my mind... anyway, go ahead. I was going to say one more thing, but I forgot it.
Okay, yeah, leave it at this. Could you imagine if Biden dies 38 days after they get eliminated? It would be the 187th day of the year. That's just like that's a JFK number.
That's how many points were. So that's how many points were in the game yesterday, right? 187 points in the game yesterday. JFK died in the 187th year of the nation's existence. People right now in the chat think this is a joke. Again, JFK was born May 29th, 1917. Yesterday, Miami came in 19-17 versus Boston. Dallas goes down where JFK was killed. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Vegas beat Dallas. And who founded the city of Vegas? Oh, the mob. What's the theory that a lot of people have about JFK's assassination? That the mob killed JFK, which is very possible because, again, they go back to Italy like the Jesuits who run this government. But again, the Jesuits also control Vegas and all these rigged outcomes. Again, you guys, they know that it's a nation of morons. Yesterday, they stole the public's money by making the over-under super low for the game, and that's why we knew it was going to be the under, because it was such obvious bait. We're the fish that don't get taken by the worm in the hook because we know better. Yesterday, they set the over-under at a level that was way below any point. Why would Vegas yesterday set the over-under at a threshold that was way below what any of the 6 games totaled to? So the whole public, the public's like, oh, free money. I'm going to bet the over because, of course, it's going to be the over. And then nobody can score at all. And you can see it from the first quarter. What was the score of the first quarter? 15-22. Of course, Boston's 22. TD Garden 37 points. The fans in TD Garden are already depressed in the first quarter because Boston can't make a bucket. Jason Tatum's got his fake ankle injury. And then next thing you know, it's the under, and Miami covered exactly what we talked about before the game. So, anyway.
Yeah, it's just undeniable. And it just shows you how retarded people are to keep watching that stuff and be on the fence, even if we don't predict everything 100%.
Again, we don't need to. So that's what when the morons come here and say we're wrong, it's like, okay, the argument was never that we can predict everything 100%. The argument is the games are rigged. The numbers reveal the rigging. If you learn gematria, you can understand why these things are rigged the way they are, and you can also see who's doing it. And consider I started making this argument a decade ago, way before Kobe died. I have a book that says all of this goes back to the Catholic Church, and then you got and there's even a chapter in that book about Kobe in 41. Kobe ends up dying at 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age. Where is anyone's argument that I'm wrong? All the morons can come and say is, well, you got that game wrong. Yeah, but okay, yeah, I did get that game wrong. But I've been winning with this knowledge for a decade. I used to win a lot more before way more people caught on, and finally, millions of people were introduced to the work. And, I've nailed way more futures than you'll ever nail in your lifetime. And in fact, you could probably pick out 100 guys who call sports games, and I bet you I have more future calls than those 100 guys combined. So anyway,
like that Kentucky Derby guy, he covers it religiously for like 40 years. How many times has he called it? I think he said 4 times or something.
Exactly. He's been doing it for about 40 years and has 4 correct calls. I mean, we had 4 correct calls in like our second year of doing it. So
I think they hold you to like a different standard. Like they hold you to a higher, accountability than even the authority that they worship, because you're, here telling them it's bullshit. So they're like, okay, if it's really bullshit, then like do everything. This kind of little kid belief. If Santa Claus really doesn't exist, then, show me how my presents are getting there. It's like that same type of little kid mentality, but
well, think about it. It's not just little kid mentality. It's that we live in a nation of little kids. It's like people don't mature. They just like stay stunted. I mean, just think about it. You got grown men going into a stadium wearing other men's names on their back, watching a kid's game, giving up all this money for it. And because their adult minds never developed, they still can't see through how scripted the game is when it couldn't be any more obvious. By the way, you guys, Scottie Pippen, here's my theory about Scottie Pippen right now. If he's not being made to do this, here's my thought about Scottie Pippen. Right now, Michael Jordan's son is 33, Jimmy Butler, and he's in the NBA Finals. Do you remember what happened to Scottie Pippen's son at age 33?
Got sacrificed on the anniversary of The Last Dance. Or he was announced. Yeah.
Sure, but also Scottie Pippen's son died on the first day of Taurus, which is the bull in astrology. And Scottie Pippen, for real, don't know, wore the number 33. Then his son dies at age 33 on the first day of Taurus. So Scottie Pippen, and I agree with Scottie Pippen, honestly. Scottie, I know it. if Scottie Pippen and Jordan played in a real basketball league where it wasn't rigged and certain people weren't chosen to be stars, Scottie Pippen would whoop Michael Jordan's ass all day, every day. Why? Because he's bigger, he's more athletic. Again, Scottie Pippen, there's just no way. I guarantee you Scottie Pippen will whoop Michael Jordan's ass all day, every day if the NBA wasn't rigged. And that's what people don't get. You're worshiping these guys who are made to be the stars. You don't even know who the best player on the court is because they're following a script. A script. Pippen's an all-around player. There was no flaw in Pippen's game. And so it would be annoying. It would be annoying if you knew you were better than somebody, but you had to live in their shadow because of the script. And then it might also be annoying when they're sacrificing your son and you're like, damn, my son gets murdered at age 33 and Jordan's son gets to go by a name Butler and win a championship.
You know what they're doing with Scottie Pippen's ex-wife?
What's that?
Jordan's son is banging her for like a year now. It's the ultimate shaming ritual.
Huh.
So, I mean, it's like there's a gun to this guy's head. But yeah, his ex-wife, the mother of his kids, is like just spreading her legs like a Jordan logo for, Michael Jordan's son.
Here, corny people in the chat. People writing Pippen can't shoot for shit. Please just shut the fuck up. Scottie Pippen's a lights-out shooter. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Man, they did a good job selling it to me. I could never see, but I didn't even see it, right? I saw it after. I was born in 95, but I couldn't see Pippen beating Jordan. I could easily see Jaylen Brown beating Tatum. If it was scripted around Jaylen Brown. But you're probably right about that. I never saw them play in real time. And I wonder if guys like Paul Pierce, that's why they get off. And like Paul Pierce will almost openly talk about the script and how this guy had all this and, it's supposed to be that way for them. That might be why they call him the truth, like mocking us. But yeah, just another one of these sellouts. I mean, people are wondering, why wouldn't they come out and tell you the games are fake? These guys are making millions of dollars after the fact. Kenny Smith makes more money talking about basketball than he ever did playing. So does Charles Barkley. And again, it's like an IQ problem if you can't realize that. If you can't realize that someone is going to have a son, a nephew, a younger brother that could also benefit from this rigging. And then it's like, even if they tell these retards, they're going to be like Jake Paul or whatever, Logan Paul telling people it's scripted. They're like, oh, he's just joking. He doesn't mean it.
Yeah, and just for the moron in the chat who wants to argue, here's Scottie Pippen's career field goal percentage, nearly 500%, 473, shot 33% from three-point range. Again, I know they're using technology to ensure outcomes, but again, if you're talking about Scottie Pippen can't shoot, you're a moron. Okay, go ahead.
No, yeah, I would say, great player. He was definitely scripted to be Robin. I mean, they needed that type of thing. Think about how that's just permeated in rap. Like almost every rapper has made a "I'm Michael, you Scottie" type of thing. It's just like it's the ultimate backhanded compliment, and no one wants to be the Scottie Pippen, even though it's like, is that really anything to be ashamed of? But I think it's like that bigger level type of programming that they'll do with stuff like that, and Kyrie Irving rituals. It is a shame to never see how good these guys are. Like a Joe Johnson, I feel like Joe Johnson has way more skill than all these guys. But I mean, is he marketable?
Joe Johnson went to Arkansas like Scottie, but
and then they made him go to the Celtics last year for the Joe Biden Celtic ritual.
Yeah,
but man. Yeah, great stuff, Zach. I think I'll just tune in now, but appreciate it. What am I missing with Scottie Pippen? What's the major news with him?
Since last week, he was even the front page story of CNN this morning. He's been talking about how Jordan's overrated and he's really not that great of a player, and he was even a shittier teammate. And again, Stephen A. Smith, all of them are like, oh, Scottie, he's just talking out of his mind right now. And it's just like, why is he doing this right now? Was he made to? Or is he actually, is he trying to say something right now? So
when I see that stuff now, especially after learning your knowledge and checking their birthday span, like when I see these guys wearing a dress or Kyle Anderson getting into a fight with Rudy Gobert, it's always something. It's like 201 days from his birthday. Their name will equal the day of the year. It's just so obvious now. But yeah, appreciate you, opening my eyes. And yeah, anything like that, Scottie Pippen, especially when they're giving him attention, I just think that's like a whole play. It's like, I wonder what the situation is, like gun to his head or, we'll kill your other son. But yeah, he's definitely being forced.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate it, Itachi.
Of course, man. See ya.
All right. Later. Again, just always talking about Colorado and 38. There's your opening line for Denver, Miami. The 38 state Colorado, you got to lay 380 to win 100. So. And Bam said it was scripted on last night. They couldn't have scripted it any better. Okay. I mean, that, you guys, so that's part of the Jordan Pippen thing, right? Like, Pippen never won without Jordan, but Jordan never won without Pippen. And the thing is, you know what year Pippen would have won without Jordan? He would have won with the Portland Trailblazers, who passed on Jordan for Sam Bowie, like how the Blazers passed on Kevin Durant for Greg Oden, which was history repeating itself. And remember how the NBA did that? It was Portland and Seattle weren't supposed to get the top two picks, but then they both did, the two teams in the small Pacific Northwest market, and they took Oden and Durant, and then Oden's out of the league with an injury before you know it, and Seattle doesn't even have a team anymore. And it's like, look at that. They give these two superstars to the Pacific Northwest only for them to have them for a very short period of time. It's all part of the joke. But, yeah, again, the year that the Blazers had the best team in the NBA easily, and they were destroying the Lakers in Game 7, they were up 20 points in the fourth quarter. And then they just came out in the fourth quarter, and they didn't even play basketball, didn't use up the clock, didn't defend, didn't rebound, didn't box out, didn't do anything that made any sense in terms of if a team wanted to be in the championship game. And the next thing you know, Kobe's throwing the alley-oop to Shaq, and it's the career NBA highlight that they play every year. And the Lakers are in another championship, and another small market like Portland doesn't quite make it again. And it's just such a joke. I still remember, my friend, his older brother, 3 years older than us. I still remember I was watching it over at their house, that Game 7, Lakers, Blazers. And, my friend's brother, who's probably still all about it, just like one of those fans, he just took the family chair. It was one of those wooden legs, and he just took it like a WWE wrestler and just started smashing it, breaking the chair all over the place. That's what they do to these fans. And when that happened, that was it for me. I just knew it was totally rigged after that, but I already had a hunch that sports are rigged. I just seen too many things watching games with my dad. My dad loves games like everybody else. As a kid, I just saw too many things that just didn't make sense. 49ers winning the Super Bowl with 49 points. I mean, what a joke. And then you learn gematria and NFL and Super Bowl equal 49. But, yeah, I just remember watching Jordan when I was a kid. Jordan could get away with anything. Nothing called on him. Anyone breathes on him, it's a foul. It's just, it's been a joke. It's been a joke, and the joke just gets way more obvious. So, yeah, and now the NBA, I mean, the NBA looked more real when I was a kid than it does now, because they actually played defense back then. And, like last night, the over-under would have made sense in the 90s NBA, but not yesterday. And again, that's how you can just tell that. So again, yesterday, here, look at this, you guys. Let's just go through games 1 through, here, let's do it like this. Miami Heat box scores. They set the over-under at 203 points yesterday, okay? So why would Vegas set the over-under at 203? In Game 1, there were 239 points scored. In Game 2, there were 216 points scored. In Game 3, there were 230 points scored. In Game 4, there were 215 points scored. In Game 6, there were 207 points scored. In Game 6, there were 207 points scored, a lot like 27 like Miami, and that game was also 207 days after Eric Spoelstra's birthday. And notice the Heat scored 103 on the 27th. 103 is the 27th prime. But then in Game 7, you get 187 points scored. And we speculated it would be the under, even though it didn't make any sense. We said, why would Vegas give an over-under of 203 when there hasn't been a single game where the scoring was that low? And again, this is just how they know how to milk the public. Every guy who's been watching the series said, oh, this is free money tonight. I'm going to bet the over because every game's been higher than that. And most games have been a lot higher than that. And what I said on the stream, I said, they set that over-under to bait everyone to do that. So where do you think the game's probably going to be at since we know it's rigged? Probably going to be the under. I speculated that the score could be as low as 171 points, the 18th triangular. I get the joke of 187 on JFK's birthday. Again, we've talked about JFK and 187 a million times. JFK was killed in the 187th year of the nation's existence. JFK assassination, as it's known, is 187, like Society of Jesus, like ancient and accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry, like how he was killed in Dealey Plaza, named after George Dealey the Freemason. 187 from George Washington to Washington, D.C. to Holy Roman Empire, big number. But then in Sumerian gematria, just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6, JFK assassination 1122. What day did he die? 1122. Born in 1917. Again, Boston. Well, Miami came in 19 and 17 versus Boston on JFK's birthday before winning their 20th game when Heat's 20. There he is, Jimmy Jordan. Sorry they didn't get a picture of him with his tongue out again. And you got the 1 seed versus the 8 seed, kind of like 18. Again, going back to the Kentucky Derby where it fits in with all this. And again, you had 18 horses in the race. Mage, number 8, won. Now you got the 8 seed Boston in. There's the Russell Trust boys after the death of Bill Russell, the Jesuit. Man, remember, Bill Russell died last year in the huge Jesuit ritual. He played at the Jesuit school, San Francisco, and then dies after San Francisco beats Boston in the finals. Ritualism, death, rigged competition, rigged outcomes, overpaid players, so they stayed down with the script because the money's greater than the glory. That's it's not just true for the athletes, right? The money's greater than the glory for almost everybody. Hey, how many of you guys want to stop what you're doing right now and revolt against the tyrants who rule over us? Oh, well, if I did that, I might lose my job and I got to pay for the bills and the money's greater than the glory. It's not just these guys on the basketball court, it's you. Don't say it's me. Don't say it's me. I quit my job a long time ago. Out of college, I made 6 figures. I quit that job to work in a group home to save my soul. I quit my job again as a teacher getting decent money and took a big risk. For 5 years, I taught this knowledge every day for free, never made a penny off it, never asked for any money, never raised anything, helped a lot of people make a lot of money off rigged future calls. Sorry if you guys weren't here back in the day. You should have typed in rigged sports back in 2013, 2014, 2015. You would have found me for free. I didn't have a Patreon back then. I just put out all the free, big money-making picks for free right on the YouTube page. And again, I'd have you go back and look at all those videos and write calls, but Google decided to delete me. Well, they delete me a million times now, but the funny thing about the first time I got deleted by Google, it was on Elon Musk's birthday, who's supposed to be this guy fighting censorship. It's funny how ever since he's taken over Twitter, I've lost way more posts due to censorship ever since he became the boss in this Orwellian world. He's another huge Jesuit puppet. Elon Musk. What's a musk? A stink. I smell a rat. But yeah, anyway, guys, there's more that could be said. We've covered a lot of the rigging in this tournament, how rigged it is. I want to do another stream. I haven't streamed for the last few days. I got some bad news in the family. Somebody's got really bad cancer in the family. What else is new in America, right? We're all dying from cancer. Keep giving billions every year to cancer research. We just can't figure it out. I'll tell you my family member that's got cancer all over. They always had a sweet tooth. Lots of sugar, lots of alcohol. Alcohol comes from sugar. Alcohol and sugar both equal 33, like Prohibition ended in 33. But, yeah, again, ignorance isn't bliss, you guys. We got to wake up. We got to realize that we're ruled over. We're not free. We're being pacified with all the entertainment. And again, we need to recognize who's doing this, which I've pointed out a million times. Again, it's the Jesuit order, the military order of the Roman Catholic Church that has ruled this nation from the beginning, that rules all over this world. Latin's their language. Latin America. They came over here and conquered the West, the New World, and then they gave us the New Testament and the New World Order, and people can't put it together. What? Jesus? He's the Son. Shout out to Yeah Right the Matrix. If you guys don't follow my guy, Yeah Right the Matrix, he was trying to have a conversation with a Christian. He's dropping all these gems on him. And all the Christian can keep coming back is saying, yeah, that doesn't matter to me because I've been reading the Bible since I was 16, and all that matters is nobody comes to the Father but through the Son. He just kept saying the same thing back to him. I was like, listen to this fucking guy. You're not hearing what he's saying. All you can say is, and he kept saying back to, yeah, right, the Matrix, aren't you worried about where you're going to go when you die? Aren't you worried about where you're going to go when you die? You're going to go to hell. You're going to go to hell if you don't believe in Jesus, the Son. The Son, the Son, the Son. God, it's just people are so sad, aren't they? Oh, man, you sound so enlightened. Yeah, keep reading old verse 146 there. Never mind. I'm not even going to get into it. It's just, you guys, the Society of Jesus from a young age, they control us through religion, government, media, sports, total mind control, consumerism, entertainment, all these brands that people are so controlled by. Look at all the big brands in the world that people are they're just so consumed by these brands. They got to have that Louis, that Gucci, that whatever else, all these other names I don't know. St. Vincent Laurent or whatever it is, or what am I thinking of? Prada, all these brands, they all go back to where? Italy and France. Oh, Italy and France. Oh, Masonry and Jesuitism. These people know how to control the minds of the masses. And that's because really all roads go to Rome, and then through Rome they go back to Greece, and then from Greece they go down to Egypt, and from Egypt it goes back to Babylon and Sumer. Again, just the same tactics, the same Kabbalistic knowledge, controlling the whole show. And since I didn't say so already, again, this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from Kabbalah, thus the term the Cabal. And certain numbers are very special and used super redundantly. And anyway, I got to do another live stream soon on a whole different topic, but it's almost dinner time over here. Got to make dinner. Tomorrow we're back to TFR, and I'll do another stream. Well, maybe I'll save it for TFR. There's another big stream I want to do talking about another topic that's related. But again, thank you to everyone who supports the work. Here, by the way, if you're out there, if you guys like what I talk about, and if you guys have never seen me before on the street, like from LA to New York City out teaching about this stuff in public, if you guys like that, I need way more people to just pledge $1 if you can afford $2, if you can afford $5. I need way more people to pledge $1. We got to get the resources back up. Help me make the argument to Sweet Lady that I need to drive a whole lap around the country this time. Last year we drove back and forth and all over, but this time I need to do a whole circle, and I might have to dip into the middle and back out too. I got to drive all over the place. I think I can get Sweet Lady behind the idea of doing a whole lap if I can show that the support's back up to where it was a year ago. I have no idea why the support's down. It shouldn't be. Might be because gas and food got so expensive and people lost that $1 a month. But again, we are going down to Kobe Bryant Day for August 24th to get out the word in a big way. We'll be in New York for September 11th again. But I'm realizing if I drive down to LA for August 24th, that would give me time to drive across the South and maybe hit some spots in the middle and Southeast, and then up the East Coast to New York by 9/11. And then I can come back again across the top, hit all those places like we did last year. Detroit, Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis. We got to do the whole tour this time. This stuff has to get out all over. And really, I don't know why there's so few people that are willing to get behind just supporting a little bit so that we can have more resources to travel. It's expensive to travel, you guys. It's expensive to travel. It takes resources. And it's hard to find people that have knowledge, the ability to publicly speak. You can do it on the fly, can do it without sleeping, who can go for 2 weeks straight and pound payment all day and get the word out. I happen to be able to have all those abilities and talents, and have proven that. Support what I'm trying to do here to wake up humanity so we can end this Jesuit cabal. Instead of having people file in on the weekends to watch the rigged sports game, instead they're filing together to overthrow their local and their federal corrupt government. That's what needs to happen, you guys. That's what needs to happen. The next stream is going to be about another live stream that happened this week between two relative big names in the truth community who, again, are trying to get people to wake up to how government and religion are closely entwined and mind controlling people from a young age to manipulate them for all of life. That's all true. But neither of these people will talk about what I'm talking about And it really is the missing link of knowledge that you need to see where religion and government come together and who's controlling it and for what purpose and how redundant they are with the same old patterns. So, again, you guys, support the work. We can do a lot more. And if we could get if we get 10,000 people pledging $1 a month, that's a lot of money for travel resources. And really, as we go into the 2024 election cycle, I'd like to just be driving laps around all over, following Donald Trump around, because all of his people think like he's the golden boy, he's the Messiah, he's going to save us from the new world order. All these people need to wake the fuck up. Donald Trump is the new world order. So is Joe Biden. They're all in the same Jesuit club. It's amazing that people are still fooled by this guy with the golden hair, And notice how it's coming down to Florida and the golden teams, the Nuggets and the Golden Knights. And again, you got Ronald and Donald, like McDonald's collaborating, two guys down in Florida. Again, you guys, all of this stuff's connected. They're all part of the cabal. We have the pieces and the knowledge and the proof and the years of correct predictions to bring it all together and prove our point. Again, I've been in front of crowds of Trump people and QAnon rallies, and I've seen how when I get there and speak, I can have a real impact and pull some of those people out of their slumber. So help me get out there and get this knowledge out so we can change this world for the better. It's not that I want to end sports. I love sports myself. I wish we could end the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, and then take these stadiums that mostly taxpayers paid for and put some real competition in there. Not the rigged game with the predetermined outcome to make sure the mobsters in Vegas milk the public again. All the people yesterday, they're just mind-blowing how the over-under came in on the under when they set it so low. They're doing the math. They're going, man, they didn't score that little in any game. Pull your head out of your ass. The game is rigged. Stop getting baited. Think about how the psychopaths know how to manipulate. How do you manipulate the populace today? That's the perspective you got to think from. So, anyway, we'll leave it there for now. And again, I'll be back soon. And by the way, here, I'm gonna tell you guys one more thing. Did you guys see the debt ceiling? The day that they brought it all together. The day the White House resolved the debt ceiling. Okay. You see how the word Freemasons 147, you see how conspiracies 147, even things like outer space are 147, and pretty much all the astronauts to go to space have been Freemasons. Notice how U.S. presidents 147, again, JFK thought up the moon landing. And, even if you write out President of the United States, it's 147. Last year on 14/7, Donald Trump's ex-wife fell down the stairs in a big Jesuit ritual, dead 45 years after their marriage. But 147 in the presidency. We always talk about the 147 windows in the White House, how D.C. is named after the Freemason George Washington. All the headlines on May 27th, the 147th day of the year. White House reaches agreement on debt ceiling with Republicans. You should be annoyed by this, you guys. You should be really fucking annoyed by this. That our government plays with us like this. Just to have this ritual, creating all this stress. Is there going to be an economic collapse? Am I going to lose all my savings? Am I going to lose my payment? Just fucking with us. And then on the 147th day there, out of the Masonic City, we solved it, with all your Freemason symbolism all over your dollar bill. Oh, we got it figured out today, the debt thing. R.I.P. to Trump's wife who fell down the stairs on 14/7. And by the way, that was 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year when that happened. Donald Trump 60, the upcoming election, the 60th. So, anyway, it's bigger than basketball. It's the cabal. It's the Illuminati. It's the Jesuit Masonic Alliance. We figured out their code. All of you guys who deny it, you're simply, I don't know how to put it. You're the lemmings the Illuminati helped create. They've chemically dumbed you down. They've made you stupid with their education system, their indoctrination system, which it really is, and they got you right where they want you. Just dumb believers that can't be moved by any logic or reason or evidence. You're just like a cult member, part of the cult of the state. You did too many pledge allegiances. You did too much flag worship. You believed too much bullshit when you were young. You didn't use your own mind that God gave you to see through all of it. And you should have. Should have been like me. You should have been getting kicked out of the classroom, in the principal's office. They can't have you in Sunday school because you asked too many questions. Had y'all been like me, we wouldn't be here. I'm not saying be like me. I got all kinds of flaws, be boring if you're all like me, but that's who I was growing up. Questioned everything, saw through the bullshit, and got in trouble nonstop for it. But survived to tell you about it, you know? So anyway, we'll leave it there, you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be back soon. Take care of yourself so you don't end up with cancer at a young age. Person I'm talking about, too. It's sad. The person I'm talking about who I found out has cancer all over, they're a doctor. That shows you how good the medical system is, right? You know. Didn't even know how to really take care of himself, even though he went to school to be a doctor. Ended up with cancer all over his body at a young age. Said I was a kook 3 years ago for telling him to maybe think twice about the jab. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Till next time.